Hello, Borderlands community. This is I, Garukin, aka Fluffy Mr. Stumpy on Twitch. We're continuing our last skill tree look here with AMON. Yesterday I did a couple videos and my throat got a little sore and I couldn't finish the last one. 6 hours of doing these nonstop kind of wore me out. But we're going to finish strong with cybernetics. Let's see what this is all about. Crucible. Charge skill 3. AMON readies forge axes that can be thrown and picked up off the ground to refund cooldown. Oh, that's cool. Can throw a flame axe, dealing incendiary melee damage, or a frost axe, dealing cryo melee damage. Enemies damaged by forged axes are primed for a duration and will detonate when they die or are damaged by a forged skill, dealing damage to nearby enemies. Oh, that sounds cool. AMON gains increased forged skill cooldown rate and gun handling. That sounds really good. Kill skill. AMON deals increased elemental damage for a duration. This effect can stack. Stacks max of 3 size. Nice. AMON gains increased critical hit damage. This effect is doubled for a duration after dealing melee damage. Okay. AMON gains increased reload speed. This effect is doubled for a duration after causing a detonation. Let's read his augments. Primed enemies take increased gun damage for each stack of prime. If AMON detonates a primed enemy, a new forge axe is spawned that seeks out a nearby enemy. AMON gains increased movement speed for a duration after dealing damage with a forge axe and can detonate primed enemies with a melee attack. Detonating a flame restores action skill cooldown. Detonating a cryo axe restores ordnance cooldown. Okay. And I'm assuming you can only throw one at a time. Like you can throw one fire and then one ice, and then you got to go like retrieve it. Maybe I don't know how this works. I don't know if you can just keep spamming it. Well, it says no. It says 3. Charge skill 3. Prime skill take increased gun damage for each stack of prime. If AMON detonates a prime enemy. Interesting. Okay. What's this do? Forge drone skill. Whenever AMON activates his forge skill, he spawns an axe forge drone that attacks nearby enemies for a duration, dealing incendiary melee damage. Activating a forge skill while tempered pyre is active, fully restore the duration of all active forge drones. Okay. Whenever AMON reloads, his guns gain bonus shock damage for duration. That's pretty nice. How much damage can it get up to? 30% for 4 seconds. AMON gains increased forge skill damage and detonation damage. Ooh, that sounds fun. Tempered Pyre now spawns an additional forge drone that deals cryo melee. Cool, so you can have like little buddies. It's fun. Kill skill. AMON gains critical hit chance with guns for a duration. This effect can stack. So stacks. Damn. Stacks 3 times. Vital organs. Hour of the Hammer. AMON now readies forge hammers, choosing frost or shock. Oh, so he gets rid of fire, huh? Frost or shock? Enemies damaged by forge hammer are primed for a duration and will detonate when they die or are damaged by a forge skill. Dealing damage to nearby enemies. Can throw a cryo hammer, dealing cryo melee damage in an area or impact, or shock hammer, dealing shock melee damage in an area or... Okay, what the hell? Okay. Blade of the Tempest. AMON now readies forged swords, choosing flame or shock. Oh, so you get... Wait, choosing flame or shock? Okay. I wonder how that works. Because it says flame or shock here, then it says frost or shock. But then if you look at this, you get to have both? I'm not really sure how. I guess we'll have to see in game. Consumes all charges to launch a barrage of forged swords. Enemies damaged by forged swords are primed for a duration and will detonate when they die or are damaged by a forged skill, dealing damage to the target, but none to nearby enemies. Can fire a barrage of flame swords, dealing incendiary melee damage, or a barrage of shock swords, dealing shock melee. This effect can stack. Frost axes apply freeze on impact. Flame axes now pass through enemies. Alright, what are these? Forged drone skill. Whenever AMON activates his action skill, he spawns a forged drone that attacks nearby enemies for a duration, dealing shock melee damage. Activating action skill while tempered lightning is active. He will partially restore the duration for all forged drones. So can you have... What the hell? Can you have axes, swords, and maces? Whenever he activates... Oh, this is... Okay, so this is ordnance. So whenever he activates his ordnance, he'll spawn a hammer. Whenever he activates his action skill, he'll spawn that. Oh. Action skill. And this is whenever he activates his forge skill. Is action skill and forge skill different? Not sure. Interesting though. You can have like a little pet build with him. Technically. Technical pet build. Whenever AMON or his forged drones critically hit an enemy or cause a detonation, he gains increased damage dealt for a duration. Detonations grant multiple stacks. Okay. AMON gains overshield when he deals action skill damage. I want to see how overshield works in this game. I don't really recall overshield being in the other games. Maybe they are. I don't really remember it in 3. AMON gunshots have a chance to critically hit to spawn an elemental bolt, dealing shock damage. Forged drones gain attack speed and movement speed. Forged drones have a chance to critically hit. Whenever forged drone critically hits, they partially restore AMON's action skill. That's cool. And Storm Surge. Double Edge is now Storm Surge. Press and hold action skill to throw a twin forge blade, dealing shock melee damage in an area on impact. Storm Surge creates a forge storm on the impact for a duration, dealing shock status effect damage over time. Sounds cool. Whenever AMON freezes an enemy, cryo hazard is created under them, dealing cryo damage for duration. Action skill damage has a chance to critically hit and burn enemies when it does. Oh. That's cool. Detonates partially restore AMON's shield and ordnance cooldown. Deal incendiary damage with guns. Increase cryo damage for a duration. Dealing cryo damage with guns increases incendiary damage for a duration. Okay. AMON gains increased status effect damage and hazard damage. Whenever AMON deals forward skill damage, he creates a drone singularity for a duration. Double Edge now deals incendiary melee damage in both directions. Wait, what? in both directions? Like, is it a, like, left and right? Like, it just goes, like, in a cone? Like some sort of, I have no idea. And leaves a trail of fire as it travels if close enough to the ground, dealing incendiary damage over time, causing a detonation, or damaging an enemy with conflag. What conflag? Huh? That's the first time I've seen this. Oh, that's the ability. Okay. Huh. And this does fire. Interesting. Okay. Oop, I didn't mean to do that. AMON gains increased ordnance damage and detonation radius. Read that one. Forge drones gain increased damage and duration. Grenades have a chance to refund themselves on use. Heavy ordnance have a chance to refund 1 ammo on damaging enemies. Oh, that's really nice. How much chance does that get up to? A 30% chance. Cool. Stoked. When AMON deals ordnance damage, he gains increased fire rate for a duration. This effect can stack. Hammer Forge drones now deal ordnance damage in addition to other types and gains a chance to cause a detonation on damaging enemies, dealing cryo damage in an area. Double edge is now a... Wait, so what is this double edge? Wait, this is double edge, and double is... That's crucible. What is double edge? I have no idea. It just says double edge. Huh. I don't know. Doesn't really say. Anyway, is now Snowball. Press and hold action skill to throw a twinned forge hammer, dealing cryo melee damage to nearby enemies on impact that ricochets between nearby enemies up to 3 times. If no ricochet targets are found, it deals damage an additional time before destroying itself. For each detonation caused, it ricochets an additional time. Oh, cool. This is a very interesting tree compared to the other ones. So Vengeance was shield, tanky. It has some freezing things going on. Some burning things going on. Calamity had a big fist. A lot of elemental stuff going on with AMON. Something to note. This is the only character that does not have radiation in their skill trees. In any of his skill trees, there is no radiation found. In every other character that you can play in this game, I believe everyone has some sort of radiation. If we can find it. We'll look real quick. This one's the corrosive one. This is shocking. I'm pretty sure there's radiation in every person's. This is incendiary. Maybe Rafa doesn't? I don't think Rafa does. Okay, Rafa has corrosive. I could have swore he had... I could have swore he had some sort of radiation. I'm just quickly glancing over this real fast and seeing if he does, but I'm not seeing it. That's corrosive. shock. Incendiary. Corrosive. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Well, phooey. I'm sorry. I guess Rafa and AMON are the only two that don't have radiation. Because I know Vex has radiation somewhere. I know Vex does for sure. And I know... Unless I was looking at a... One moment. Normally I don't want to do this for a YouTube video, but we're gonna look at Max Roll real quick because they have color coded. Yeah. Okay, wait. So this is the... What tree is this? Incarnate. So the Incarnate has radiation, right? Oh, did they change it? Hold the phone. What? Deals corrosive damage. It's changed. That's why I'm confused. Oh my goodness. Wait, what? Oh, never mind. Okay. I'm just... I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. All right. My bad. She does have radiation. It's right here. All right. This is fine. Okay. So Incarnate has radiation. I could have swore Rafa had some sort of radiation. Maybe it's just corrosive. Quickly just looking at colors. Okay, yeah, I guess he doesn't have... Okay, so it looks like Rafa and Amon do not have radiation, but Harlow and Vex have radiation. So the other two are more elemental based, and Harlow and Vex have radiation. That is interesting. But the reason why I'm bringing this all up is I wanted to be sure that people understand that if you're playing Amon, he's elemental. He's a brute. He's a brawler. But I think that will conclude my reaction on the skill tree. It looks solid. It looks good. All of his skill trees look good. The only character I'm kind of worried about is Rafa, because I would really need to play him. I'd really need to play him to really feel out how he would feel. But every other character we've read so far, they have something that intrigues me and is very interesting that I could dive into and be like, okay, this sounds really fun. But I was looking at Rafa and I'm like, he's got some speed stuff going on, but all the other characters are calling to me before Rafa. But this will conclude the video. If you guys could leave a like, a follow, and a subscribe, I'd fully appreciate it because it would help me grow, and you'd be awesome. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.